Hey everybody out there, you've reached the Rock Office. Time to clock in and rock out. I'm your host, Bill Smith.
And I'm Kevin Davis.
Got another great episode planned for you today. We have Tim Arnold of the Good Old War calling in from his tour bus. We're going to discuss life on the road, touring with Counting Crows, and making their new album Come Back As Rain. Kevin?
We've also got a viewer request battle royale for you this week. We're pitting two of the best against each other. We've got The Who versus Led Zeppelin, so make sure to check that out.
All right. Without any further ado, let's get right into that interview. All right, now we have our exclusive interview with Tim Arnold, who's one of the members of Good Old War. He's currently on tour, and he took some time out on the road and gave us a call and had to ask him some questions about life on the road, opening for Counting Crows, and the tour they have this fall with Need to Breathe. So my first question for you is, Tim, how did the band form, and how'd you guys get together?
Well, it was formed after kind of Keith and my band dissolved, and Dan's band kind of dissolved, so, like a phoenix rising from the ashes, those two bands, Good Old War was born. Yeah, it was just kind of like Keith and I were in a band for a really long time, and it wasn't working out. And then I moved to the city and met this girl, and she was friends with Dan, and Dan was in a band at the time, and so we were throwing down on band stuff. And I started playing with Dan in his band when we were home from tour on Keith and my band. And then, both of those things dissolved, and Keith knew that Dan was an excellent guitar player and songwriter. So we were all just like, all right, let's do it. Start writing songs because, we wanted to do something different, pretty much. So, and Sergeant House really helped us out with that too, and they kind of gave us the opportunity to make a record right off the bat. We could do it up where we wanted. So we did. It worked out. So.
Right. Cool. Very good. So, Good Old War, kind of an odd name. Can you tell me a little bit about what it means and how you guys came up with it?
It's actually a piece of each one of our names. Keith Goodwin is good. Tim Arnold is old. Daniel Schwartz is war. And Keith's wife actually came up with the idea. We didn't have a name for a while. When we first started this band, we were immediately on the road playing shows, but we still didn't have a name. So we were kind of frantically looking for a name, and she decided to help us out. And she called us up one day, and she's like, what about Good Old War? And we were all like, what does that mean? We don't know what that means. Why are you telling us to use the band name? And then she explained it to us, and we're like, oh, okay. That's actually pretty sweet. So we stuck with it, and now we have to explain it to every single person that was there.
Great, that's awesome. Tim, can you tell me the process of writing and recording your new album, Come Back As Rain, and kind of, what inspired you guys to write some of these songs and perform them the way you did?
So it was kind of a big collaborative thing. Everyone would come up with a song, and we'd all sit down together and then work them all out as a group. So that was cool. And we had a producer on this one, Jason Cupp, which is the first time we actually were in the studio with a big, awesome producer. And I don't know, the title is actually from a song that Keith wrote, and we kind of felt like this was like really, this record was very, kind of fresh start. So we were coming back and like making a record that was kind of different and like, you know, pure and fresh and ready to go.
Okay. All right, Tim. Now, I got to hear you guys when you opened for Counting Crows back in Cleveland in June, and they're probably one of my favorite bands of all time. So can you tell me a little bit about how opening for them came about, what it was like to go on the road with those guys, and, you know, the reception they gave you? How did they treat you? Can you share with me about that?
I think it was like, I don't really actually know how it totally all came about. I think it might have been like our manager, their manager, that whole story. But it was a blast. You know, like, maybe those guys were so nice to us, and they were like, Adam was very like enthusiastic and like genuinely interested in like pleased with what we were doing. So that's always good. You know? And he was like, you know, he was just supportive, and it was a great time. And they sounded great. It was just good. You know, we've been really lucky with some of the bands we've opened for, and I think this was another one of those cases where it's like, all right, this is going to be awesome, and it was. So, it was really fun.
Awesome. Yeah, that's great. So what can your fans expect from you guys in the future? Do you have any plans to record? I know you're currently on the road. You're going to be opening for Need to Breathe this fall, and congratulations on that, because they're an incredible band. I've seen them several different times. I enjoyed each time I saw them. But what can we expect from you guys on the near horizon, the near future?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we don't stop touring really forever, so we're going to be on the road for a long time. But I think we're planning on releasing some kind of live record or something, which will be cool. And then eventually we'll just get back in the studio and make another record.
Cool. Very good. All right, Tim, we want to thank you for calling in. I know you guys are on the road. You called from your tour bus. We really appreciate you taking time out of your schedule. I hope you were able to hear me okay. I know there was some distortion and some feedback there. But once again, you guys, thank you. Please take care on the road. Be safe out there. And when you come to Cleveland, hopefully we'll be able to catch up with you guys and hear another great performance from you.
We will, I'm sure.
Awesome. Well, thanks again, and we'll see you later.
All right, man. See you later.
All right. That was our interview with Tim Arnold, one of the members of Good Old War, and my pick of the week, the new album from Good Old War, Come Back As Rain. If you're a fan of Simon and Garfunkel, CS, and with a little bit of the Eagles, kind of an old school vibe mixed in, you're going to really like their album. A lot of vocal harmonies, a lot of kind of old school rock, acoustic rock kind of a feel. Great album. My pick of the week, Good Old War, Come Back As Rain. Make sure you run to your local record store and pick that up. This week's Battle Royale, per viewer request for Jeremy in Concord. Jeremy, thanks for sending your suggestion in to us. As always, if you have any, make sure you get it to us on our Facebook and Twitter pages. But this week, we have probably two of the most important rock bands of all time pitting against each other. We have in this corner Led Zeppelin versus The Who. And quite frankly, this is a tougher decision than people might think. My opinion, I go with Led Zeppelin, actually hands down. But both bands are incredibly influential, incredibly important in the halls of rock and roll. Both had so many comparisons to each other. Fantastic guitarists, incredible lead singers, probably two of the best drummers in rock history, period, and bass players that really revolutionized the way that instrument is utilized and played in rock and roll. But for me, it always comes down to the songs. It always comes down to the writing. And Led Zeppelin, even though Pete Townsend was an incredible writer, some of the stuff he wrote was just awesome. When it comes to consistency, when it comes to songs that basically are more accessible, I think, to more people, you got to go with Led Zeppelin, in my opinion. And that's who my pick's going with. Kevin?
Well, yeah, it's not much of a battle royale on the set here today because I'm actually a Led Zeppelin fan as well, hands down over The Who. I think The Who is important. I think they were groundbreakers, in their own right. But a little lead for your head never hurt, and they're phenomenal. Plant and Page, I mean, two of the biggest, just in regards to consistency, it was there throughout their careers. huge hits. There's so many you can't even. I could take 5 minutes of your time here and just go down through a list, but it's just phenomenal. Anybody who's a Led Zeppelin fan, quite honestly, even if you're not a Led Zeppelin fan, I mean, come on, you know that they're one of the best, top 10 band of all time, number one on my list actually. So I kind of just ruined that if we ever do that one, but that really is,
No, I mean, and it's not to discredit the Who, because I think if there is a band that could go toe to toe with Led Zeppelin in that arena, it would be the Who. Both really pioneered a heavier rock sound that had up to that point not existed, and even though Plant and Page kind of stay away from the term heavy metal in association with Led Zeppelin, without those guys, both of them, the term heavy metal, the genre of harder rock or heavy metal wouldn't exist, and it's just a fact. You can't argue that. Like I said, Pete Townshend is an incredible songwriter, very prolific on the guitar. He actually was incredibly influential. I would almost say he's probably more influential of a guitar player than Jimmy Page, and I would go on to say that he was a better guitar player than Jimmy Page. But we're not talking about who the better guitar player is. We're talking who the better band is. And when it comes down to it, like I said, it comes to songs. There are so many great Led Zeppelin songs.
It's a huge catalog. I mean, it really is.
Stairway to Heaven, When the Levee Breaks, Babe, I'm Gonna Leave, Houses of the Holy, Die or Make. I mean, Moby Dick. I mean, there's just so many.
Yeah, I agree. Basically, one of the main reasons why I like Led Zeppelin a lot as well, and although it really not necessarily, because of their own doing as much as it is just certain, outside variables. But, the Who still screws around and they go out there and they put on their show. And I mean, Led Zeppelin, I mean, they had a little get together there a few years ago. Yeah. But the fact of the matter is you don't get to see them. It leaves a little bit to, the old, imagination. Led Zeppelin is still in your mind as the old Led Zeppelin. I mean, I can't help but remember the Who for this Super Bowl halftime show that they did here just a few years ago. And I'll be honest with you, I thought it was horrible. And I'm like, who in their right mind let these old geriatric guys out on the stage to do this show, because they shouldn't have been there. They shouldn't be there. I mean, hang it up.
Yeah, well, I mean, Robert Plant still, even the stuff he's done with Alison Krauss and working with Thibaut Burnett, even Buddy Miller, the last album he did. Robert Plant still has some semblance of a voice. Roger Daltrey just can't. I mean, he tries to sing, the stuff from like the Quadrophenia era, and he just can't hit it.
Yeah, it sounds like you're sticking the tail of a dog through a meat grinder. I mean, it's horrible.
Right, but once again, I think that is just a testament to the talent that those guys had. But like I said, it's not really to knock the Who. Behind Blue Eyes, I mean, Won't Get Fooled Again, Baba O'Reilly. I mean, they, can't explain. I mean, the Who had some incredible hits, but when it comes down to it, Zeppelin for me.
Zeppelin wins, man.
So, all right.
Absolutely.
Well, you know what we think. Now we want to know what you think. You can vote down below on the link here and make sure your voice is heard. I think it's probably going to be going the way that you and I are thinking.
I'm going to go out on a limb and say it's going to be a total avalanche, on the side of Zeppelin.
So. I think so also.
Maybe I'll be proved wrong. I don't know.
But nonetheless, we want to know what you have to say. We want to let us know. So make sure you cast your vote down below. And also, if you have any other suggestions for any other future Battle Royales you want us to hash out and talk, let us know. You can email us at therockoffice@ymail.com or send us a message on our Facebook or Twitter pages. All right, everyone, we want to thank you once again for tuning in this week. We appreciate all the positive feedback you've been giving us. Keep sending those suggestions in. Keep sending in your comments. We love hearing them. Even the ones that aren't so nice, we still love hearing them, and we try to personally answer all of them. And we just want to thank you for taking the time and interest in us. Also, we want to mention we have our TRO gear available, as Kevin is proudly displaying, and you can order some of that stuff once again by sending us a message on Facebook, Twitter, or our email address. We want to thank Jeremy from Concord for sending out the Battle Royale suggestion. Make sure you keep those coming so we can, have something to talk about on the show. Kevin.
Make sure you subscribe to us on the iTunes. Go to a podcast directory, search up The Rock Office. We're going to be one of the first ones, if not the only one that pops up in your browser there or on the iTunes. So check that out. Also, make sure to subscribe to us on YouTube. Either way, you're going to be one of the first to get our new episodes and be able to check out what we're doing. So we appreciate it.
All right. Well, as always, remember, support your local independent record stores by buying the physical copy of music instead of the digital download. And we will see you next time. Take care and God bless.